Alright, so we already covered overfitting. It's when your model completely nails the training data, but totally chokes when you throw new data at it. Back then, we talked about how even if the independent and dependent variables aren't linear, we can still solve it linearly. Why? Because at the end of the day, our whole goal is to find W. If you look at it in terms of W, it's still a linear equation. The X and Y data are just given constants. Since we're solving for W, we can treat W as our unknown and set it up as a standard linear regression problem. So let's take that intuition and look at the math. Check it out, we've got 10 data points here. First, let's say we only have W0, meaning if we set our hyperparameter to greater 0, we get a model like this. No matter what X is, the predicted value is always just W0. If we use the housing market example where X is the square footage and Y is the price, this model predicts the exact same price no matter how big the house is. Obviously, this model is highly likely to be underfitted.
Wait, why say highly likely? Why not just straight up call it underfit?
Good question. It looks like underfitting because we believe house size and house price are related. Based on that belief, this model seems way too simple. But remember, we only have 10 data points and we don't actually know the true relationship out in the real world. If house size really doesn't explain house prices very well in the population, then the degree zero model might actually be the correct model. That's why I wouldn't definitively call it underfitting. I just say it's likely to be underfitting. Now, let's gradually increase the degree. Pay attention how the equation changes. Notice that the W vector keeps getting larger. More and more parameters are being added. By the time we get to this last model, the parameter vector contains W0 through W9, so there are 10 parameters in total. And look at the actual coefficient values. Some of them become huge. We've got 10 data points and 10 coefficients. And because the model is trying to pass through all 10 data points, some of the coefficients can end up getting really large. That's why this model has a pretty high chance of overfitting.
This feels a little different from the crab fishing example we talked about before. In that example, the problem was that we had those 7 legal-sized crabs from a really lucky day, which ended up making the slope way bigger than it should have been.
Exactly. But mathematically, there's an important similarity. In the crab example, we only had W0 and W1, and it was mainly W1 that became large. That's because we were assuming a one-dimensional relationship between the input variable and the output variable. This time, instead of looking at a single linear relationship, we're increasing the dimensionality through a hyperparameter, the polynomial degree. We train the model at each degree, and this is what we end up with. The situations are different, but they share the same underlying pattern. Some components of the W vector become very large. Anyway, in both cases, getting more data would usually help solve the problem. The catch is that collecting more data isn't always cheap. It takes time, money, and effort. So instead, we use regularization. The idea is to preserve the information contained in the current dataset while preventing the coefficients from growing too large. And the specific technique we're focusing on, L2 regularization, can be viewed as a constrained optimization problem. We're basically saying, let's put a limit on how large the coefficients are allowed to get. And one of the classic mathematical tools for solving that kind of problem is the method of Lagrange multipliers. Alright, so now we can build a new objective function by adding a regularization term. If you're wondering where the hell this suddenly came from, it actually drops naturally right out of the Lagrange multiplier method we looked at before. Remember this equation?